Good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending where you are, folks. This is your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, this is the last week, the last full week of October. I'm telling you, folks, times has flown by. We're just 2 months away, 2 months away from a new year. I mean, I'm telling you, folks. See, like summer just started, we were sweating, and now we're not sweating anymore. We're a little chillier now, and appreciate that. Sometimes that summer weather can be I'm a fat man too. So anyway, folks, we all have a discussion. I hope I have some guests come in here later. But if you or anyone you are interested in maybe giving your thoughts on the discussion, I left a link, to my StreamYard in the comment section. So if any of you folks out there who wants to give your thoughts about this opinion and what can really help bodybuilding out, just come in. You're welcome. You're welcome guests, all of you. We are here. This is my man Balls Deep. What up? A salute to Balls Deep. What up to you? He also says Chicago in here. Yeah, Chicago in here is usually Balls Deep. Yeah, always. He says smash the like button. Thank you, Balls Deep. And also he says, peace and blessings to the chat. Well, like I said, I usually have my usual cohorts, but I think they might be up to something. I know my man Big Keith, he's usually busy with stuff. He has family things like that. But, we might get somebody come in, I'm hoping, cross my fingers. But, if it's just me by myself, I don't have a problem with that. It's been a while. I used to have my old partner, Jared, he's moved on. I need to check up on the kids, see how he's doing. So anyway, the discussion is about, is the next generation of bodybuilders going to keep bodybuilding afloat, to save it? I know some people say it's not a discussion, but like I said again, I'm an outsider. I'm a fan, and I'm just giving my thoughts and my opinion. I'm not no expert. I'm just a fan. So anyway, as in the last few years, I think we've seen a lot more younger people getting supported bodybuilding. Weekend before last, I interviewed Drew Bezion. Drew, I hope I got your name right. And Drew is a competitive bodybuilder. She was in wellness for a minute, but now she's switching over to physique. And she's hoping maybe someday she go up all the way up to the big show in the bodybuilding. And the thing is, we'll see a lot more young competitors coming in, especially on the women's side of bodybuilding. Most notably people that I think one of the most, at one time, you remember Shanique Grant, who was the Miss Physique champion, I think was the youngest champion at the time. I think she was 24, 25 when she won a championship back in 2020, 2018. Yeah, 2018. And she was, I think, 25 by 2019. And, she lost the title to Sarah Vilgas in 2020. Then I think after that came, just in the last year, Natalia Cuejo, who is now the current physique women's champ. And, she holds the title. And if you look in her social media, you can see she's only 27 years old. Yeah, 27. That's impressive. At 27, what I was doing, I was working a job and, and just, living my life as a still living with my mom because I couldn't afford to live on my own, especially where I was working at. I was making peanuts, and I couldn't afford to leave alone. So, and plus my mom was living in public housing, so she had to move. She hated to move. We don't. But anyways, I digress about that. But Natalia's only 27 years old, and she's I think she gets a lot of attention because she stays active in the sport. Was it the year before last in 2021? She was doing multiple shows. Even when she was already Olympia qualified, she did like 4 shows. I think she did. That was the year before the year before she won the title. She did shows like the Legion. She did shows like the Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro, and also she did what was that other show? I forgot that show. So she did a show in Brazil, and that was the year when she was already, she's already qualified, and she was just second to Sarah again. And then last year, she wins the title, and There goes Barbara Majan, the lovely I get the interview a while back. And, she's very proud of herself. I mean, it was, it's a great moment for her because I think she was the future where they wanted to see in the vision. But like I said, she's still young, not even 30 yet. And this is here. She graduated from school. I think she got a degree. She says, allow your passion to become your purpose, and one day it will become your profession. What is success in my eyes is being able to call your job your passion, and that right there is what I'm getting to do. And this is when I think she just graduated from college. I think she's a master's degree in sports medicine, I believe. And this was like I think it was most recently this year. And congratulations on that. And just like I said again, at 27, it's a lot of time, a lot of work you get to the sport. And she's very popular, very active. Not one of my favorite competitors, I would honestly say, but she is one of my favorite competitors, and that is the lovely, guys, I gotta talk about her. The lovely Andrea Shaw. Oh God, I love Andrea. This is the time I get to talk about her. She's just generally a great lady. I saw to shout out to Raheem Hamilton. Just saw Andrea did an interview with J.M. Mannion a few days ago. And you talked about she'll do the interview. She did one, but the big question is, will there be more up and comers in bodybuilding to give it new life, to keep it going, or like I said, also you have the competitors now who are established, like people like Helen Trevino, people like Irene Anderson, let's see who else who's been competing for a good while. I mean, see, like the numbers started to thin out a bit because last year, Blanca Djokovic retired. Also, Martin, Margie Martin retired. Some ladies who have followed on social media say take a step back from the sport for a little bit to recover, to relax, or just they were done. But are we looking towards the future of bodybuilder with the more younger, more established competitors? Like say like Natalia, or another one who I follow on social media, and and she's just, I think she's just maybe just 28, 29 now, and that is Michaela Aycock. And Michaela, she's this is going to be her. She's been to Olympia multiple times in her career. And this is going to be her second time in women's bodybuilding. I think it's the third time. I think it's second time in women's bodybuilding. And, she's also a young up-and-comer. A fan of Michaela. I mean, I did some topics about her before in the past. She didn't like the one I talked about because, well, she put a business out there. But is this, like I said, she's another lady who's going to be, the future for women's bodybuilding, particularly. She has been doing pretty good in her career. I mean, she just took, third place at the Rising Phoenix to Angela and Andrea, and impressive physique. But there's always that debate about one thing is about her height, being she's so short. She's 4'11". And I have people comment how that her physique is very odd. She has great conditioning. That's what that wins the show is the conditioning. But is conditioning going to be enough to really push your career? You can only be so conditioned, And also, as I said again, it does affect your overall, especially your chemistry, especially for a young woman, because you never know. Like I said, she comes from a very I would say farming family, very, a very rural family. And most time in rural families, the tradition is that you grow up, you follow the footsteps of your parents, and you have kids, you have family, and you keep going on, But like I said, she's just I think a year or two older than Natalia. So, how long will she stay? She's been competing since the good part of the I would say mid 2000s. She's been a pro for, I think, a little over 6-7 years, I believe. And she was at one point, she was physique. till I think about 2 years ago. She made it 2 or 3 years ago. She made the switch from physique towards bodybuilding, and she's on social media quite a bit. She's posting videos, her workout videos and stuff. She's a gamer. I got to respect Natalia's, sorry, Michaela's passion for bodybuilding. We got somebody that's popped in. This is my man. This is my partner, my ace boom coon, uh, the man himself. Here he is.
What
My
up?
man, hey, what up? What up? Hey, well, we just got in here. He's come in, so now that I don't need to hide the other guy anymore. So usually I'm solo. I let the other guys do a lot of talking. So, and also we got here another one of our gentlemen here who's a fan of bodybuilding. He just did an interview this morning. Shout out to him, my man, KL the Wanderer.
Hey, what's
Hey,
happening?
just the
What's up,
sin of the
Biggie?
crime,
How you
huh?
doing? Yeah, yeah, it just came out. Just coming from outside.
All righty. Well, I appreciate your Jerry coming through. We got here from James Steen. I think it's just Steen. He says, "Really, I waited for this. Hardly no pics or vids, just talk." Yes. Sometimes we don't. We just talk. Sometimes. This is not like Hey, I'll put up some pics and vids every now and then about people we might talk about, but this is a discussion. That's where we have discussions. You want, if you don't like it, hey, beat it. So anyway, as I was saying earlier, we got a lot of these young competitors coming up now, and and I was talking with other people. This is, do you think these young competitors coming in the sport, or it's also the ones who are in the top levels right now, like people like Natalia and Michaela, and also there's Hunter Henderson. I don't know. There's talk that she might come back. Maybe just I'm
Really?
just here. I don't know. She took a step back a couple years ago since she had medical issues. But you got to remember, this girl, she was doing powerlifting. Then she wins her first because she was in Omaha. She wins her first nationals, I think regional qualification. Then win USA's, and then took second to Mona at Tampa. And your wife was there. You were there.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Oh, it'd be interesting. Again, a lot of these girls are sitting here saying, is again, and we'll go back. Please go back to the discussion. The risk versus reward, and the reward is not very big in this sport for some of these women, like Hunter, who had a big following in powerlifting and all this other stuff. Is it just worth it to them at this point in time in their careers? Is it worth chasing down a $2,000 check? Is it worth chasing down the $3,000 check? I think, you know, because really these girls can only make money at Worlds or the Olympia. Other than that, it's pennies on the dollars for these girls. So a lot of these girls are sitting there saying, I can go probably do something else and make just as much money as, putting my body through all the stuff that I have to put myself through, in my opinion. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna put a picture. This is a picture of, I think it's probably one of the most recent pictures I've seen of Hunter. She's with another competitor. I don't know the lady's name right off. She looks familiar, but looks like Hunter. If she does come back, she might switch to another division that fits with her overall physique. Here is a picture with Hunter, and just happy for James, to make him happy. There's Hunter right now. This was about I think this summer. And the lady, I don't recognize her right off. But she looks like she's getting a little more heavy in the lower legs.
yeah,
So you
she's
so you
big.
think, yeah. So you
I
think
know she
she?
was training with Matt Jensen. That's who was her trainer, the same person who trains Christina Mendoza.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you think that she might be considering switching over to, as it works with her dimension because she's shorter. It seems like a lot of the wellness girls are shorter, and she's not as big
Yeah.
on top compared to his bodybuilding. So you think we might be seeing Hunter going over to wellness?
I don't know. That'd be an interesting move. I mean, that's like saying that you can see. Another person that you can see coming over to wellness would be Christina Mendoza.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
I know she did.
these
She said an
bottom
interview
these
with.
bottom heavy girls.
Yeah, I know she said an interview with AJ and JB that she's thinking about doing that, but you might as well say it's too late now because she's been bodybuilding for so long. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I could see it, but now it's too late. But she's like I said, she has the potential. You know, she like I said, she's not as heavy on top as compared to the women in bodybuilding, but she still has those aesthetics for probably wellness.
True.
Yeah. What you say, KL? I want to get your thoughts.
Why you say it's too late for her like now to do wellness?
I'm talking about Christina Mendoza. We talk about Christina Mendoza. It's too late
Oh,
for her.
Christina. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's too late for Hunter.
Well, I mean,
Nah,
here's the
she
thing:
was
it's not
like,
really not too late for anybody because you can dummy down your body. You know, what I mean, it's just you just stop lifting so much.
Yeah, I say it's it. But you know how it is. It's hard to really dummy down like that. You have to at least take at least a year or more, I think,
Yeah.
and then you just increase your cardio. You know, cut back on your food intake, change your diet. I mean, there's a lot you can do. Like, Kara, what are you about to say?
no, I mean she looked nice. I mean, she looked like she could be wellness, so physique probably, if I could say that.
You go with your physique because you look at some of the girls now in physique. It is like it's crazy how it's just like it's really when we talk about this. We keep talk about this how the divisions are starting to really kind of
Collide.
blend to try to really blend to each other, where you can't really tell the difference between the girls in physique and the girls in wellness and the girls in fitness and the girls in figure. I just saw somebody sitting. I was on the female bodybuilding channel, and they posted pictures of Missy Trescott, and it's crazy. I mean, we're just like I think a week away from the Olympia, and she's already, you know, dry to the bone. You know, that's when you really push out all the water. And I mean, I saw the picture of her, and it posted. It looked like I don't know. She had it on her page, but I think she might have removed it because or I think it's in her, what's the face in her stories. But the girl looks like she is just, you know, she's walking dead. Here it is. I'm about to bring it up. I'm gonna put it on pause. And I'm about to bring up the pitch. You wouldn't think it's her when you look at it because there's a girl from Scotland who competes in fitness, and
Okay.
she kind of looks like Missy in a way. You can easily confuse them. Here we're gonna pull it up here. And this is Missy Trescott, and she looks
Okay.
really
Yeah, I see
just
her.
dried out. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
see her
know,
face.
yeah. I mean, she
I mean,
just I
it's a
don't know.
lot that what they put to themselves. I mean, it's like what Keith said. Like they do a lot, then they
Wow.
don't get a lot of money. So
Yeah, Keith, that's Missy.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She's sucked down. Holy shit.
yeah. And this is supposed to be figure.
Wow. Really?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
mm. Yeah, she
yeah,
you wasn't lying about the Walking Dead part.
yeah.
Seriously.
It's yeah. She,
Last person I seen
it's
that sucked down was Iris. At the Olympia one year was
Mm.
like sucked down like that. You know.
yeah.
Yeah,
And this is where it's healthy, especially your fitness. It's one thing if you're in figure. I won't say so much as figure, maybe physique and women's bodybuilding, but in fitness, you're supposed to maintain a certain level of your athletic ability plus your femininity.
Yeah.
mm,
And I think Missy's just in her early 30s. So,
she's young.
and it's just, I don't know. This stuff that we talk about this on the channel. How it's too much of a health risk. This sport is, you know.
Yeah.
And you look at here.
No,
This is
I was. Oh, my bad.
hmm?
No, I was saying like I was watching what's her name, Danielle Willis, and she was talking about she had bipolar issues. She was
Hmm.
explaining to people, like the triggers and stuff, and like she had to step away like from about 1 year just to get her mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She told me that plenty of times before because yeah, she's been diagnosed for a long time, and my shout out to Danielle, and I hope she does get better. And we would love to see her come back, but take care of yourself first. And, the sports art's gonna be here. We got here. This is our man Warrior 2000 says, "Yo," say yo to you. Warrior says, "What up?" Says, "What up to you, Warrior?" Says he says this. It says, "Is Missy on PEDS taking some stuff for her face? It looks like that." Probably, or
Yeah,
she's just
probably.
yeah, and also, um, I'm starting to think you're right, George. Missy Trescott needs to pull back on the training a little bit because she's towing the line of women's physique. No, she's fitness, not physique. No, that's totally different. She's totally different division. A division is supposed to be more soft and feminine, and and yeah, she is towing the line for that division.
Yes.
If you've seen the girls in fitness getting harder, more serrated, I think right behind her is Erica Deer. Erica Deer is just 30, and that's still young. And I think there's a couple like I think right now one of the oldest women competing right now in physique at the Olympia is going to be I think it's going to be Nina from Finland, and I think Nina is like she's like 4 or 5 years away from 50, and she's still doing fitness. And I saw my homeboy Sean was critiquing that last Olympia where she was at. We saw how she just didn't really pop up as big. And I think next to that is Whitney. I think Whitney's touching 50.
Whitney Jones.
Yeah, I think she's almost. I think she's like 40 something. Because I think
Yeah.
yeah. So but you got to think about it. When you get older, you can't keep up and maintain as when you're younger, because you know how it is, Keith. When you played football, when you were young, you could run all day and do all that, But then when you start hitting the 30s and 40s, everything starts to slow down, and you just sometimes you get up in the morning, especially when those aches and pains start kicking you on. You say, "Oh, I tell you, sometimes my back will be like, if I sleep the wrong way." Here we have
How long you play football? No, I was going to ask you
8
how long you
years.
play football. 8 years.
8 years.
Uh-huh. Hello,
Well,
guys.
all my life in the league, 8 years.
Yeah. Say hello, guys. Great live. Thank you, Leroy. Appreciate that. Now, is like I said, me and Kayla just interviewed a young lady. I was hoping for her to come on, but she just sent me a text. She has a client, and she can't even make it. But maybe next time we get on. That is Drew Benzion, and Drew is 24 years old. She's right now. She's still coming up. Did wellness a while back, and she's switching over to women's physique. Now, from your experience being a judge and also training with competitors, Keith, you think that youth is always an advantage for competitive coming to sport?
Now, what did you say? Ask the question again, George. Couldn't hear
Do
you.
you think youth is always an advantage for a competitor coming to sport?
Yes and no. Because you have a lot of people, like I got to the sport late, because this is obviously my third pro sport I was in. And there was, muscle maturity and a lot of things going involved. But, it all depends what division, what I mean? Because if you look at the girls in the women's bodybuilding, let's just say that, for instance, there's a lot of them still going that are in their, Tina's 45, Tina's 45. And again, it all depends when they, I know I want to say, what was Maya? I would go with you say Maya. But again, these girls are crossing over. Tina started off in women's figure, then went from women's figure to women's physique, from women's physique to women's bodybuilding. So it all depends. I mean, it's some of the top bodybuilders, in the industry were started in the male side of it, were, like LaShawn and Kevin and all those guys, they started off when they're 18, 19 when it was AAU bodybuilding, so yeah, here's the thing. In any sport, when you start off young, it's better. It just depends how long of a road it's going to take you to catch up to a lot of those other girls in those other classes as far as muscle maturity and all this stuff. I always tell people it's like this, master nationals. People are like, oh, it's master nationals, but that is one of the tougher shows to compete in as an amateur because you have so many people with muscular maturity that have been training forever versus a new kid on the block coming in at 18, 19, 20 something years old or the 20s trying to start doing something that don't have that muscle maturity. They may have the genetic makeup to be a good competitor in the long run, but on the front end of the side, a master or older person, I would say, is probably better off. But that's a matter of opinion too. You know, when I got into the sport, Honey Rumbo looked at me and said, "Hey, I got to take your bodybuilder your build from an athletic build to a bodybuilder build, which are two different looks." And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean? I'm a big dude. I wasn't the size I am now, but it's just a complete athletic look to a bodybuilder's look, and they're just two different things in our world and our sport."
Yeah, and that's the factor because I know, like, if you look at an example like Andrea, she's gonna be 40 in December,
Yeah,
and
and that's
she,
young.
yeah, I mean, and she's hitting it. I mean, she look like she's gonna win her fourth Miss Olympia title. Just got the fourth Rise of Phoenix title, and she did take that step back for a while, and then I think that probably helped a little bit, maybe to let herself rejuvenate and maybe get that those juices flowing for women's bodybuilding for bodybuilding period. But that does help. I think especially the good decisions because what younger people, they want everything hot and ready and fresh, and there's no fast, cure anything. You have to follow
Not
the
in this sport.
process.
Not
No,
in this sport.
yeah,
There's no fast track to this sport whatsoever. There's no
hmm
way of putting on quality muscle density and things like that at all. Like when I met Hunter, Henderson when she's at Omaha, I told her right away. I said she ended up going to USA's and turning pro at USA's. I'm like, why not go to Wings of Strength, Wise and Phoenix? Because that's a better platform for you, in my opinion. But no matter what show she was going into, she was going to win because she had the density and the size, and she had all that. Now she's different, and the reason why she's different because she was powerlifting, so she had all the size, and I wouldn't necessarily say the condition and separation because that's diet and stuff like that. She was already training, so she already had the dense muscle and size and all that other stuff to put her in this realm where there are certain girls like if you look at the world of figure, you see a lot of the Gilman and a lot of those girls. They were you can tell like Tina, they were athletes. And they got those black like I always call it some of these black girls you see competing call them got great blacknetics. So they got the tiny waist, they have the athletic body because they've always looked at that. Like you could tell they ran track. Linda Murray was an athlete before she became a bodybuilder. And that's why her lines were so pretty. So, but it takes time to put on size and muscle and create the body that you want in the sport. And that's just a time thing. There's no rush about, if ands or buts about how to get there. It just takes time. And what, the things that the technology and that the people are using these days as far as supplementation and things like that, things have changed that way too. Like Sean Ray said, the era, they call it the golden era, was probably the best era of bodybuilding for men, that is, just because the way they train and the way they did things are way different than the way we do things now.
yeah, that's a good point. And like I said, you have a lot of these young competitors coming here who, instead again, they need to take time and grow and develop the bodies. There's one lady who I follow, and I think she's young to herself. I think she's just maybe 26, 20. I think she's about 27, maybe 20 this year. And that is Anastasia Korbaleva. And if anybody know who she is, you follow social media. She is probably one of the biggest women right now in bodybuilding, and just not even 30 yet. And she is really, she's put on some size. I think
Is that a real picture? Seriously?
I got a video for you.
Wow.
I think she's just 27. She might be turning 28 this year. And she is huge. I know she's going to compete at the Romanian Muscle Fest because she announced it when she was at the Spain show, and she was talking to AJ, and she said she's going to be at that show. And this is where, you know, I'm a fan of hers. I think she has, but this is where the debate is it too much muscle too soon for someone so young?
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna quote from the four-time world champion and three-time Miss Olympia right now, Miss Shaw's coach, who now coaches me and my wife. At the end of the day, that is not what they want women's bodybuilding to look like. It's not. They don't want women's bodybuilding to look like, because the other girl from Romania, George, that you're always messing with me with, that girl.
Oh,
They don't want that.
oh, you mean Anastasia? No, Natalia Amazonka. You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
They don't want that look. That is not the direction or the future of women's bodybuilding at all. And I know that for a fact. Like John said, and I will quote him, said, they keep chasing after something that is incorrect. And that's the problem. Wow, is it fascinating to look at her with those big quads and everything? But is that the direction that they want women's bodybuilding to go in? Absolutely not. So it's, and some people find it gross. You can be a big fan of hers, but that is not the direction in which they want women's bodybuilding going in. They don't. That's just a fact. It's too much.
Wait.
I mean, and people will argue, but at the end of the day, it's just too much as far as women's bodybuilding is concerned. It's not appealing to what I think the IFBB and Jake Woods, when they were bringing women's bodybuilding back, that's not the appeal that they were looking to bring back for women's bodybuilding. That's why Andrea Shaw is, and I'm not even like on Andrea Shaw nutsack, but at the end of the day, it's a balance of femininity, muscle, size, condition, everything. That makes it sexy. It makes it attractive.
Well, I know Andrea doesn't have nutsack, but I'm on something else of hers. So
Hey, bro, the question is, what? I understand she's fascinated, but what look would you want to see more on stage? Andrea's look or the other girl's look? That's the question. I'm asking both of you guys.
As a fan, I'm gonna say Andrea. I'm gonna say hers. Because I'm a fan of her. She has a great look.
KL?
She has that balance. KL.
Andrea, I'm with you, Andrea, because I seen her, the other woman. That's a lot, though. Like I wouldn't want to walk to the streets, outside the streets, and people looking at me and stuff, being with her. No disrespect, but I'm just keeping it real. I'd rather walk with Andrea than walk with her.
Well, here's you guys want to hear a funny story? So and Andrea is sponsored by a swing company, the rats that they wear. So Tina, and this is how great conditioning that Andrea is right now. So Tina orders these squeams, and what size did you order? A medium, George, a medium squeam. It cannot fit in it, not even close. It wouldn't even go around the size of her waist. So she sends Andrea a message and goes, well, what size squeam do you wear? And Tina has a small waist. And Andrea says, I wear a medium during the off season. And right now her waistline, and she's an extra, extra small. So can you imagine that shit? She's wearing an extra, extra small squeam. That's crazy. So her waistline has to be tiny as shit. And see, people don't understand. In the world of bodybuilding, what we say, waist to lat ratio means everything. So if your waist is small as shit, your legs are going to look bigger, and your lats are going to look bigger. And Dennis James, a quote, and I will repeat this quote from Dennis James, Andrea Shaw has a better back than most pro guys in the industry. So if her back looks like that, if her waist is that small, and her quads are that big, and all the other stuff that comes with that package, I'm just glad that our team here consists. Our consensus is the same thing. It's like, yeah, does that girl, is she a freak with the quads and everything? Absolutely. Conditioning, great. But that's like Micaiah. Same thing. Micaiah's conditioning is unbelievable. But it's not sexy. It's not appealing. It's not what I want to really look at when a girl's on stage. It's just not. That's why, when Iris was winning all those shows and everything else as she got more extreme and harder. And Iris was never that size, but her conditioning, her work ethic, and everything she brought to the table kept getting harder and harder and harder. And other girls started chasing after that. And then guess what? Poof, or the women's sport disappeared because nobody wanted to see that shit. That's a fact.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here we got a comment from War 2000. He says, "Anastasia is freaking huge, otherworldly damn." Also, we got this from War. He says, "She would probably get away with this look in the Iris Cow days of bodybuilding, but not
Yes.
current Martin Andrea Shaw time." And also, this is from a war. He says, "Andrea's all day, every day. No other look is perfect as hers." Now, there's one lady who I follow, and she's also young, and she's from Brazil. That is Lavinia Barros. And Lavinia just last year, won her first show, qualified Olympia. She took 15th. I don't, she was right behind the Donna Salib, but she's on social media. She says she's going to compete at the upcoming in Muscle Fest that's coming up the week after the Olympia. And I think she has a look that I think guys will like. I mean, very, good lines, very feminine. I mean, I think she does have promise and potential, because this is one of her, a while back she did this. She did went
Absolutely.
under, yeah, she went under the knife and she did get a boob job and very prominent. But I think she has a look that's
Yep.
she's young. She's young. I think she's just 27. Uh, Good physique. I think she's very photographical. I mean, this is I think what they want to see in the next generation for women's
Yep.
bodybuilding. Yeah, and
Yep.
I've talked about Lavinia. I think she's very impressive. You know, could she, if she gets her Olympic qualification, could she crack the top 10?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say so.
yeah, I think she could. Because like I said, I think she's just 28 now this year. Because I think she won Olympic qualification. She was 27,
Mm.
and she has that look, very good muscle development, good amount of femininity. Does the breast implants help a little bit? Maybe a bit. It gives her that. I remember what one they told me. I remember KO, we were talking with Michelle. It gives us that balance. It gives her more of that even look. Yeah,
Yeah, because they're not
it's not.
overbearing.
Yeah, they're not overbearing to a particular person that we talk about many times. I mean, they're noticeable. You pay attention to it, but you also look at the overall her physique. She has good. Look at her delts and her shoulders. She has that good small tapering waist. I mean, she has good aesthetics. I think
But it's
she's
a
like I said.
balance with the body. It's more balance with the body. It's not like you're drawing right toward boobs when you look at her right away. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, in these pictures, yeah, because that's. But I'm like, when you're looking at her, overall, and again, everybody looks good in pictures till you stand next to the champ, and then you gotta, understand that's just a different monster. You know, everybody looks good, like all these pictures look good posing until stand next to the monster, stand next to the champion. That tells you everything you need to know there.
Yeah. I
And
think
like
she's very impressive.
I said,
What's her name again? Oh,
they're some of the best bodybuilders. What's her name?
Lavinia Bottles. Lavinia Bottles. I will put the link in the description if any guys want to follow her and check out her social media. I think she's, like I said, I'm a fan of hers. I think she has a great physique. I used to send her stuff every now and then, and she responds to it. She does speak no English, but she does respond with a happy face, or she'll say something. She might do a translate saying thank you. But yeah, I think she has a. First, we got a man here. Ball Thief says Lavinia's fire. Also, this is from Warrior. He says, Warrior. Warrior says, Lavinia has exotic sex appeal. That's the one of her striking traits that is appealing. Also, here he says this: Lavinia got that El Nina hedonism going on, and it just it is, you know, she has that look that really probably would draw more people towards her. I think she has a lot of promise. We got here from man Michael Boyce. We got the mic. He says this. It says Andrea has awesome peaks, bicep peaks. She does, but like I said again, what I think she's kind of still growing, developing as a competitor. But the big question is, what is going to be if she? How long do you think she can stay in for another 2 or 3 more years? And like I said, she is young. She also has a husband. She might want to slow down and start her life, her family. Oh, she's young. She's married. She has her last name was Rodriguez, but her married name is Barros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and I think she has a lot of potential. So again, she might maybe next Olympia if she can win at the Romanian Muscle Fest, she can possibly crack the top 10.
I would say.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're not talking about too much, but we do, as you know, I just posted on my IG a while back that another young lady, she just won her pro card at Europe. They showed that Chelsea won her Olympic qualification. She's denied, Olympia, appearance. She's, she can't go to Olympia, and had people talk to me about this. What's going on? There's been, I think, there's a guy from Great Britain. He got denied.
Oh, Nathan, yeah, sure. Well, here's the thing: people have to understand. There's like, and I just talked to Tina about this morning. There's crickets in the room. More than likely, when you're being denied that appeal, like Jason D. Asher, for prime example, there was a scandal that happened at his gym that he opened up in England. With steroids and being involved. And I don't know, and I'm not. I don't want to speculate, but it was something to do with that. It's like, here's a prime example: Charles Griffin, who got the last qualification from Legions about a couple weeks back. He went over to Toronto to do the Toronto Pro, got to Toronto, and they denied him access because he had a DUI, a felony. So if you have a felony, they will not let you into Canada. If you have a criminal charge from a different country, they will not let you into the United States. So I know that there was something a couple years, because Nathan didn't compete for a year or two when all this stuff went down. Plus, he had an injury to his bicep or something. I can't remember. And he was denied as well. So, again, it's not like, this is the year when Trump was in office and all this shit was going on and they were denying everybody. So we have to look deeper into this, saying, why are you being denied? Nathan, if I had to guess, it has to do something with that, even though he said he was going to reapply, go back to his country and reapply, for a visa. But that's his country. That's the United States can deny whoever they want. So, again, I don't know. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, think about it. George and Hade Koopa, they didn't let him in for a long time either. Remember? And he's a champion now. And they didn't let him in when he would have battled Flex Lewis for the 212. And they wouldn't let him in. So, and that was just because he was from Iran, I would imagine, and all the stuff that was going on between countries and things like that. So it's unfortunate because, they're messing with some of these people's livelihoods, and how they make their money.
Mm-hmm. I know both Big Hair interviews a while back. That is Asana Prairie. She was supposed to go to the show in the what's face show, the Masters Olympia just this past summer. But I remember she was saying she was talking with her immigration attorney, but she got denied. And one thing is I think because big part because she's Russian, and and I think my guess it felt like there's a lot of bans against Russian athletes, even though she lives in the U.S. And I don't know if she has a citizenship. I should ask her. I don't know, Kale, you asked her, if I asked her if she has citizenship here in the United States, but she was denied to compete at the Masters Olympia show. That's Romania. And, I remember somebody said it was easy to get in Romania because of, especially when you had the pandemic going on, they didn't have no, certain restrictions when you had a pandemic, because that's why we were able to have the Romanian Muscle Fest that year in 2020 and 2021. I think We Just Straight posted something. I think it's a message from them. I'm gonna pull it up here, and I think it's a challenge for those competitors. I sent it to Karina this morning, and I think she said she's gonna talk to somebody. I think she's talking good. They might get her a letter or something, but it's gonna be a week after Olympia. And the challenge goes like this, and it's from the Weezer Strafe says, we've been monitoring some of the challenges certain athletes have faced in their efforts to travel to the United States to compete in this year's Olympia. Matters relating to immigration can be extremely complicated. Each situation brings unique circumstances depending on their residence, country, overall political climate, and personal history. As part of our athlete support process, we provide invitations letters to any Olympia competitor who submits a request for one. These letters are often required in the immigration process, enabling the athlete to validate their reason for entering the country. Unfortunately, many of these matters are far beyond our control, as they are under the jurisdiction, sorry, my southern accent, of the United States Department of Homeland Security, come again, and immigration personnel assigned to the individual case. We appreciate the work of everyone involved. The sport of bodybuilding stands tall as one of the world's most culturally diverse sports, and we are proud of the diversity of those who have been crowned Olympic champions. We certainly held our Masters Olympia in Eastern Europe, and we are continue to explore opportunities to bring the Olympia experience to new regions, connecting with new fans. We are extremely grateful to everyone who have helped make the Olympia the most globally diverse world championship event in the world during this most challenging times. Yeah, it's tough because I do content. I do content on women in mixed martial arts, and there's a lady who I interviewed a while back. Her name is Lupe Gorias, and Lupe, just like right when she got a contract with UFC, she lives in Canada, and Lupe was supposed to come fight, make a debut fight maybe 2 years ago. Before her when she finally made her debut was maybe 2-3 months later. She supposed to debut before then, but there was issues with her visa. And sometimes it's simple as something as forgetting to put in certain information. That's also a factor. I know some MMA fighters from Brazil had the issue, but also yes, criminal causes can be that big thing. If you have even the slightest thing, to get into America, you got to have a clean record. If you get busted with something, maybe even if it's expunged, they see it's part of your criminal record. It's all depending on the situation or just the fact that it's just the fact that it is a criminal record. That's why it's a lot harder for some competitors to compete here in the States, because it's easy to go maybe to certain countries because they don't have as many restrictions compared to the United States. I think Canada's a little more restrictive. I think the U.S., Russia, and I believe maybe Great Britain. But I think countries like Romania, I think maybe France, some other countries, I think not restrict. You can go to the Caribbean, and because some countries don't have extradition treaties, you can go in there with a criminal record.
Yeah, well, I mean, prime example is my son went over and played in Japan this summer. Bernardo Silva, who's their starting center, was able to go from Hawaii to Japan, but on his way back, because he didn't update his visa, he had to stay there extra almost 10 days to get his visa straightened out because he's from Brazil. So he had to get his visa straightened out there. The thing that I have a problem with all this is simply this. You have the Olympics. You have all these athletes that go to all these different countries and all these other things, correct? I said, there needs to be something that the IFBB, which is a worldwide sport, obviously, to get involved in helping these athletes, maybe doing a background check on them, maybe, making sure, like, because even like when we fill out our IFBB Pro Card stuff, they ask you, do you have a passport? Yes, I have a passport. Even me right now, I just applied for global entry, so I don't have to go through all the bullshit at the airports. They said that may take up to 11 months for me to get my global entry, and I've never been in jail, no felonies, no records, no nothing. So the crazy thing when we're talking about this situation is you have athletes who are, even here's a prime example. When I was with MuscleTalk, I flew over from because MuscleTalk is based out of Canada. They told me because I didn't have a visa that when I got to the country, even though I was sponsored with them, I was doing stuff with them over there, that I needed to say that I was going there for a convention. I wasn't going there to work because I didn't have a visa, even though I was going over there to do some pictures and photo shoots and all this other stuff. I was going over there for something else. Now the question is, how does the IFBB not know? Because this is going to cost them money, because Nathan D'Asher has a great fan base. This girl, I imagine, has a great fan base. People are going to these shows to see these athletes compete. Heide Cooper was denied for how long? 2 years or 3 years before they finally let him in the country. And guess what? He's the fucking Mr. Olympia right now. So it's like, how does the IFBB, who is an international sport, and there's two IFBBs, there's the international and the United States one, clearly. How haven't they figured this out with these athletes is my question. Again, you can sit here and write everything down on a piece of paper all you want. But at the end of the day, these athletes are busting their asses to get to the biggest stage in the world so the world can see them and they can't come in the country. Now, again, every athlete's different. Every circumstance is different. But it should be the IFBB, Jim Mannion, Tyler, Steve, whoever, Jake Woods, or whoever, Dan Solomon, who's the promoter of the Olympia, to be at the forefront of this, saying we need to figure out with the United States how to get these athletes in this country. But they don't, from what I can see. And that's the frustrating part of this whole thing. Like, Charles Griffin should have known, hey, I'm getting ready to go to Toronto Pro to compete, but because I have a felony, I can't go into Canada. So you fight. Nathan D'Asher was in Florida from England. He's in Florida, and he has to go back. So they're sitting there saying that he's going to have to go from Florida all the way back to England. Well, we're not like a 14-hour flight. Try to deal with this shit, and then come back to get ready for the Olympia. You know how wrecked your body's gonna be just by dealing with that flight and all that shit. It's like you're not gonna be at your best. So it's one of those things that has to be something with that the IFBB. Here's the thing. Here's. I wish our boy Raheem is, because I'm sure he would have some logic behind this too. Why not do this shit before you even qualify for the Olympia, so that you know that if you're coming to the States as a competitor, that you know what the outcome is going to be before you get on a plane 2 weeks out from the Olympia to only find out you're going to be denied coming to the country. Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah, you would think it would, but sometimes some people don't think that. They might have, it takes like, if you like, especially if you don't update your visa, your passport, it takes sometimes months. And then again, they're busy training and prepping, they forget. But you should, I keep quoting this, I know KL don't like this. My master Rezago taught me all this at all time. Be aware of your surroundings at all time, young Master Wayne. Never give up sure footing for a killing blow. And that's what he did. He gave up sure footing for a killing blow. He won his qualification, but now he's going to be stressed out, dealing with this stuff. I mean, you might have to get a immigration lawyer, and that's money you get to come out of your pocket for that. And, and even if you get the letter from the Wheel of Strength, like Karina told me, it's a week. It takes, it's not enough. I was talking to her on IG. I said, maybe you should try to do a show where, like, the Remaining Muscle Fest. I posted, the Remaining Muscle Fest is a good show because, it can give you qualification for next year. And you're prepping for the Olympia already, then it's just a week after Olympia. A lot of the other ladies probably might try to do that show. I mean, I think maybe someone like Carolina.
But here's
Oliver.
The thing, George. You can say that, but it's costing. I mean, the big check is we just said it earlier. The big check is the Worlds and the Olympia. So Romania Muscle Fest, I don't know what the check is over there. The bag is over there. Let's call it the bag. If you're like Nathan, and Nathan, I would guarantee that Nathan probably make top 10. That's costing him money. What I'm saying is simply this: if you're the IFBB and you're applying for because I would have to go back and look at our forms. They ask you what class you're in, do you have a passport, what shows you're planning on doing, all this other stuff. That should be part of the process. That should be in the process where the IFBB saying, okay, we got these internet, and that's a lot of athletes. I get it. The Hades, the Nathan Diashers, the girl you're talking about, et cetera, et cetera. But it has to be part of the process, and there has to be a team that just deals with international athletes to make sure that they're valid to come over to the country, not just for the Olympia, for the Arnold, for the Worlds, for any show that they're coming over to do in the United States. There's not a lot of shows in Europe that people do, or these folks do to get their Olympia qualifications. They come to the United States most of the time to get their Olympic qualifications correct. So if that is the case, they should have a team to sit here and say, okay, we are an international sport. It'd be interesting to know how the USOC does that for Olympic athletes compared to what these athletes are going through now. That would be the interesting thing, because kind of what you'd be dealing with the same kind of issue, because they are athletes, and you're dealing with way more athletes in the Olympics than you're dealing with in bodybuilding. So it'd be interesting to see how the USOC handles things when it comes to international athletes and athletes in general compared to what's going on right now in our sport.
Yeah. Okay, comment. This is from Warrior. Says the immigration border situation politically is out of control. It's crazy. Yeah, that's true. Well, like I said, it's about protecting the country from non-wanted people. So yeah. But as I say, do any of you guys see the Miss Olympia lineup of the women's bodybuilding division qualified possibly next year can go toe to toe with Andrea Shaw in 2024, or will Andrea just remain dominant as the champion? Anybody's thoughts? Let's get to KL first. Your thoughts, KL, on this question? You see anybody going to take Andrea's title away?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't really say.
Okay, that's an honest question. Keith, he's the expert here.
Here's the thing. When it comes to anybody, in any sport. I mean, when I first beat Carl Lewis and winning my first USA Track and Field Championship, anybody can beat at any time. If you come off a little bit, the question is like Dennis James said, Andrea Shaw will get beat when she wants to get beat. That means she's going to come in very off and not on her game. And again, what people have to understand about Andrea Shaw is when she did the World Championship, because I was there, her coach was sitting in my room, we were talking about her and everything. That wasn't her peak. Her peak is for her Olympia title. So as good as she looked at the World Championship, she's going to look way better at the Olympia. And Dennis James, and who is Natalia's coach, said the girl won't be beat until she wants to be beat. Now, can she be beat? Absolutely. Anybody can beat if they come in off. But the question is with her is she gets geared up for two shows. Because those are her bags. Those are the shows where she makes her money at. So that's going to be tough to do, because guess what? All these girls like Christina Mendoza and some of these girls that had to do shows to qualify to do the Olympia. That's why you don't see, Hade Cooper doing Arnold's, but you'll see Nick Walker and all these Sampson do all these shows, because these guys, they're doing shows to collect checks. But these champions sit there and say, I don't have to do all that shit. That one show is good. I mean, think about it. In two shows that she does, that's what, $125,000 that she's gonna make in two shows. So it's hard to beat the champions. I mean, you got to look at the history of it. Look at the history of men's bodybuilding. Look at the history of women's bodybuilding. Look how many times Iris won it, Chris won it, Kim won it. The list goes on of men and women. If they can stay consistent and stay Jay, Ronnie Coleman, etc., Bill Heath, it's hard to beat the champion, because even if they come in a little off, you have had to bring such an unbelievable game or unbelievable package to the table to beat them, and that's just so hard to do. So can she be beat? Yes. When will she be beat? I would guess when she decides that she wants to stop collecting checks, and she's like, what was it last year? When she went on stage last year and she said that she almost didn't make it to the world championship because she got sick. She had to take a diet pill because she gained a little bit more weight. Remember, George, you seen her? Remember
Yeah, I
in
would say
Savannah,
Savannah.
and she didn't look. She wasn't in shape. She wasn't. You were like, yeah, we're all like, is she gonna make it back? And that was part of her issue. She said she almost died with doing that diet pill, but she came back, and I think she learned a lesson by sitting there saying, I can make this much money. And I tell people this all the time when they judge women and all this shit. I said, you can call her what you want and say they're manly looking and this, that, and the other. I said, but that woman has made almost $500,000 in 4 years doing 2 shows a year. I'll take that. I'll take that income any day of the week. Just saying. So, as far as when she's gonna be beat, that's that. I mean, everybody just says like Hall of Famers say, Andrea Shaw will be beat when Andrea Shaw wants to be beat, and she's had to come in off, and that's even his client is Natalia, and his words to her was, "You placing third will be good," because it's just, I mean, Andrea's just and she's a complete package. It's what they want women's bodybuilding to look at, and like John says, all these girls, and I'll keep saying this, and if they're listening, all these girls keep chasing after the wrong damn thing. Look at her, say, bringing your best package, but like the girl that we seen earlier with the crazy quads, if you set her next to Andrea, as crazy as she looks, she's not going to be Andrea. She's not. She's not, because that's not what Sandy and Steve and the IFBB want women's bodybuilding direction to be in. They don't. They got at the end of the day, they got to put people in the stands, to put people in the seats to see this shit, and not everybody wants to see that. There's some weird people who want to see it. It's fascinating, but not everybody wants to see that.
It's like history repeating itself because
Yeah, Definition of Sanity is doing the same shit over and over again.
yeah, in the 80s, I forgot Beth Francis or something like, yeah, Beth Francis. They didn't want to pick her because she's too muscular, and they end
Yeah,
up picking up what's her name,
Corey Houston.
Rachel McLish.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
Rachel
no,
McLish.
no. Actually, it was it which show you by the time when they were competing at the Caesar for the when we were doing Pumping Iron, the woman too.
Yeah, it was what's her name, but they didn't pick Beth Francis because
Yeah, that was
I got this from what's his name, Mike, the one. I think he was listening to him
Mike
before.
Omham,
He
Samuel Omham.
yeah, yeah, he was saying that Beth Francis was ahead of her time, and they didn't pick her because she was too muscular. It's almost like what the what's her name, the Russian chick.
Oh, Anastasia Korbelova.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like that. I forgot who she was competing against, but they were saying the same thing. That's all I had to say.
Yeah,
It's
I
history
remember that.
repeating itself.
Yeah, I remember that. I watched Pumping Iron. I watched it a couple of times. I remember the judges were arguing. That was the one older judge. He was arguing because he liked Bev, but all the other judges didn't like her because she was bringing this level of muscle that was. It was like if Bev was competing now, when she was that, I think her last Olympia or that time, she would be more close to maybe what you see in figure. I mean, not figure, physique than it is you see it in women's bodybuilding. It's just because the popular women back then was Rachel McLeish, Carla Dunlap, Sandy Riddell, Diane Dennis, and what's it? I know the back of my head. I missed the name.
Corey Everson?
Hmm?
Was it Corey Everson?
I think Corey Everson. Yeah, Corey. Those women had great lines for immunity. Can't forget Angela Langer and Juliet Bergman. But it's just that what the judges want and what they want to see, and what they truly, the way they want women's bodies to go. But the thing is, it's about
yeah,
itself
and I
again.
think Trish Giovanni was in there as well at
Yeah,
some point in
Christian
time.
everybody. Yeah, but the thing is that it's about the evolution of the athlete, and then it's also
Hmm.
the judges. They need to set the criteria. We got here. This is for Warrior says. This says Warrior says in the women's physique division, Keith Williams did say that Sarah Vigors will win her title back last live stream due to her proactive actions to help the sport in based on IFB politics. And yeah, because I just saw somebody sent me this one guy. I forgot his name. He sent it to me. He qualified for the Olympia, but he guest posed at a show in another organization, and they
Oh
are
no,
it was sent to my other IGs and my other IG. If I find it, I'll send it to you. You can check it out. And
that's a
he's gonna be
no-no.
he's gonna be suspended for about a year, they say, and he's stripped of his Olympic qualification.
Hey, I've been to, and this is true because I've been to some as an NMBF athletes who are natural athletes, and they said just don't take no pictures or let nobody take no pictures of you there. And I'm like, here's a shitty thing that pisses me off about that. I understand it's a different federation, and he is guest posted, but people got to fucking make money, and the IFBB is not, again, they're not taking care of their athletes. They're not paying us. So if I'm in an NAMBF show because I have natural athletes, why can't I be there? I have clients that are paying me to be their coach, but yet I got to hide in the background, and this is back in the day. I got to hide in the background. Maybe that was why I was runner up for so long before I turned pro, maybe, but I don't know. But it's one of those things, it's like, that's bullshit. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, he's guest hosting. How does that affect the IFBB is my question. How does that, if you're not promoting them and the promoters, I think Global something wanted me to come guest host at a show in Texas. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But here's the thing that pisses me off about what they're doing to this kid. When we sign our pro cards, and I don't even know you do your pro cards and all this other stuff, there's no stipulation sitting there saying that, hey, you can't do other things. If that's in our contracts, fine, but it's not in our contracts. So that's the frustrating thing. It's like I went to another federation and I guest posed. I made money, and no Lord knows how much money he made, but yet he gets banned. That's a shitty ass deal. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because you think about it again, if you're not paying these athletes to come to these the do like certain shows, or the prize money is worth their while, what do you expect them to do? I mean, when somebody comes to me and say, hey, we want to we want you to guest post this show, we're gonna give you $40,000. Okay, that's probably more he got probably doing with his Olympic qualification. So
Yeah.
okay, and that's $40,000 he can use. That could pay for his travel expenses like that, pay his coach, put the rest up for wherever he wants to if he needs it, put in the savings. Hey, Carl, think about it. He spent like maybe half of it on getting ready for the Olympia, and the other half he can put to his savings. But as you all know, Keith, the IFB is about their money, about their image, about their brand.
Control.
Yeah,
About control.
yeah. Screw everybody else. One lady who I follow, I interviewed her a while back. Cool, we used to be, cool, but situation happened, but we don't speak anymore. And that is Tracy Ruckett, or she goes by Tracy S. Ruckett. And Tracy, she switched divisions. She switched she switched organizations. She's no longer with the IFBB. She's with the PCA, which is the Physique Culture Association. And she's done a couple of shows already. She just, I think a couple of weeks ago, she won in women's physique,
Is that something
division.
new? Is that something new, that division?
No, because I interviewed a
Never
lady by
heard
the
of
name of Holly McVitie, and Holly, she competes in that organization. It's been around for a good bit. I think it's been coming to US for a little bit. And it's congratulations to Tracy. I interviewed her like a couple years ago, and I think it's like I was talking with somebody who knows. Said this. It's the vision for, I think, for smaller women. For those women who are not going to get as big, and I think it's leaning towards. I think it's leaning towards more the natural look. She was one. It was her lady who competed in the class for women's physique,
I seen that
and I
earlier
think
in your post.
Yeah, I posted that, and I think it's a good move for it. I think if her husband also competes in it, and this is Tracy right here, and I want to give a shout out because she interviewed a while back. We used to talk a good bit, on my old IG, the one before it got hacked, and then some stuff happened. It was like a little discussion between me and her husband, and then I'm not gonna get into that. But I think it's a good move for her to switch over because she is in her. I think Tracy's about 50. I wouldn't think because she looks so young.
Damn.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and I think yeah, and she last time she competed in the IFB was about 2 years ago because she also she competed at the Atlanta Chicago show in women's bodybuilding. Then she competed at the Tampa Bay Pro in physique. She did both open and also did masters. I think she took second or third in the masters. Women's over 40 plus, and I think this is a good move for her. You know, I think
Let's
Absolutely.
get back on track.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think it's a maybe in the future we'll see more competitors. Will it be ever be competitive to the IFBB? I don't know. You know, it might be. It might, like I said, it's just more opportunity. If they give better opportunities for competitors, like I know I talked to Holly. She said that they do a little bit more for competitors in the PCA compared to IFBB. But I don't know if any of you will consider it for the future, or maybe you might know somebody who wants to get into bodybuilding, but they feel like they may not be ready for the IFBB. I know some ladies who compete in other organizations and then jump to organizations because they want to go to the bigger shows like the Olympia or the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic like that. But I just want to give Tracy a shout out and good luck to her in the future. Yeah. Well, we get here. This is from uh that's fancy it. Gentlemen, I think everybody got asked their questions, but I like this. I'm gonna say this. I think if like I remember somebody telling me a while back that they hope that more competitors. I think Raheem said it himself. I think Raheem said himself that bodybuilding need more young competitors to keep it going, especially
Yeah.
for the upcoming future because but now you have the growing number of masters competitors. I interviewed a lady about a couple weeks ago who's 61 years old and just made a debut at the Regis Sports show. I people like Don Sleeve, who's I think Don's gonna be 50 in a few years, and I think in a year or two, I believe. People like your lovely wife, who is 45. But also it is the next generation that as a fan of bodybuilding who wants to see the sport to grow and progress. I think this should be like I said again, the IFBB should prepare and maybe make more opportunities because if you give them the opportunity really to grow as an athlete and maybe even to go farther, be the future, be the next Andrea Shaw or the next Heidi Chopin.
But you're
Just
going to find that the contingency of what you're going to find is that you're not going to see other people come into the sport, George. You're going to see girls crossing over from different divisions more than girls coming into shows because there is really no appeal to an 18, 19, 20-year-old girl who wants to get into the show or wants to get into the sport and understand the logistics and all the things that come along with it. The financial responsibility because it's not cheap. So what and you can see this trending already, George, and or I can see it trending already. Is you're seeing girls coming over because the overflow of, and we talked about this the last show, the overflow of girls in women's physique now trending towards women's bodybuilding because they realize that they can put on a little bit more size. They have the conditioning. They put a little bit more size and can transition into that women's bodybuilding phase and still compete. But again, at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is money. What are we actually competing for? What are we actually doing this for? We're doing this for our livelihood. We're not doing it for, if you're doing it for the just the love of it, that means you're financially not worried about whatever. But this is a very expensive sport, especially for women and people, and I guess for everybody to do. So, what's the appeal for a person to want to transition from, hey, working my 9 to 5 job or training people and this and the other to spending all this money for pennies on the dollar. I mean, because the people who are actually making the money is not the competitors, and that's the unfortunate thing. And so when we're talking about younger generations seeing this and seeing the transition, that's why you don't see any really new faces. It's kind of like like I said, you see the faces of what are you seeing, George? And you're the expert on this more so than I am. You're seeing a lot of these girls, you're seeing a lot of these physique girls crossing over to women's bodybuilding because they're like, there's so many physique girls and the competition is so much that they're like, if I can put on a little bit more size here and a little bit more size there, I got the conditioning, this and the other, I can do well in this sport. But the money, like a girl, let's look at Tina when one Wings of Strength, Lights in Phoenix show and says, why are you doing women's bodybuilding? There's no money in the sport, and Tina's like, well, there is, there is at the World Championships, there is at the Olympia, but the girl is right. I mean, the girl who wins if you think about it this way, most of the time, the girl who wins the bag at a women bodybuilding show, not the Worlds, not the Olympia, but a regular show, the girl who does women's physiques, their bags are pretty much the same amount. So what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? If you're a women's physique or you're women's bodybuilding, you're probably making about the same amount of money. So what's going to be the draw and what's going to be the appeal? I remember when Jake told Whitney Jones when they were bumping up the money at the Olympia, but that's just at the Olympia. That's nowhere else. And the money stays the same for the World Championship. So how to get these people in money? As we say in the world, money talks, bullshit walks. So you're going to have to up the ante for these girls to sit here and say, I'm pushing myself to the limits. I'm doing all these things for what? $2,000? That's what Chelsea won when she was in Spain. $2,000, really? When the guy who won it probably won 10 grand? It's like, I'll be the advocate for women, and not because of my wife. I'll be the advocate for women. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for them. So there's going to have to be some incentives for these girls to want to continue to compete and cross over and do these things. But no younger generation is going to want to do this because they can make more money on the IG influence and, like you said, the Beat the Meat sites and all this other stuff, and my fans only page and all this other stuff, versus going through all the shit they're going through now. That's just reality. And I don't know if the IFBB or the NPC necessarily give a shit, because they're getting their bags, they're getting their money at the door, they're getting their money for entry fees, they're getting their money in so many different ways that I can't even imagine. I know Jake's losing his ass on some things, but I can't even imagine how much money is being made at these shows. I think the average ticket to go to Olympia is like $125. And there's a lot of people there. That's not including the expo and all this other stuff. So, like I always tell my business partners in my business, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And so I'm not gonna sit here and dump a bunch of money into some shit. For Jake, I mean, this is pure speculation. When you got money like that, losses are good, L's are good in his business because you can write that shit off. That's how the rich stay rich. So even if you lose a little bit, but you're not gonna be anything where you're just losing money. With streaming, and like I said, there's so many. It'll be interesting it would be great to see, and this is just in my la world of Keith Williams, to put the team together, like Raheem said, of how can we make this sport sexy? How can we put some panties on this and a sexy bra on this to make it sexy again, to get people to appeal towards it for the spectator standpoint and the athlete standpoint? How do we do that? Instead of worrying about how we're going to line our pockets, how do we reinvent the sport to have the appeal that it had back in the day in the 80s and 90s? Think about it. I mean, the 80s and 90s when they had this sport was so sexy, and it was so much going on with the women and the men and all this other stuff. And not saying it's dying, but Psycho Fitness once said, I was listening to his live on IG the other day. He goes, "What's the definition of bodybuilding? Is it just being as big as you can What happened to the symmetry? What happened to the conditioning? What happened to all these other things? Is it a popularity contest now? Is it because Nick Walker has all these followers and all this other stuff that he should be the next guy that win? It's a whole bunch of shit that goes into this. And to put a panel together and sit there and say, this is what we need to do for the athletes. This is what we need to do for the sport. This is what we need to do for that. But it's you. I would say, and I don't know, somebody would have to be open-minded and willing to relinquish some of the powers that they have in order to make the sport sexy again. And I just don't think they want to do that.
Yeah. We got here. This is from Lawrence Perkins. He says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Lawrence. This is from your man, Raheem Hamilton. Raheem says, no, they can't save the sport because the promoters like where it's at. Also, Raheem says this. He says the promoters made them feel this is a hobby. Yeah, I feel like okay. And also, this is to Raheem from Warrior 2000. Says, Raheem, do you see any female bodybuilders athletes in the new young generations coming up capable of taking out Andrea Shaw? He answers to Warrior. Says, Warrior, I'm not worried about how Andrea Shaw and the ladies look. It won't last because the powers that be are not doing their job. This is from Rajun's son. Tyra Kovalev is another one that could go head to head with Andrea, maybe.
I'm not even going to comment.
I don't.
Not even going to comment.
Heads it? Only thing somebody's only head they want is between. I better be nice. Nah, I got.
You're silly boy.
I'm crazy, man. But yeah, I think like this. It's just what we want to see. Maybe because I'm not the expert. I'm just speaking from the fan point of view on what we want to see bodybuilding go. We feel like maybe new fresh blood bring it into it by helping, or just trying to help the people that's in it now to grow and to advance. I mean, there's so much can be done, but like Raheem says, the powers that be are not interested in doing that. They're interested about making their money and to help with everything else.
And they're making it harder. George. I mean, when you took out the point system, you shattered a whole bunch of people's dreams because some of these girls are doing, Tina did, 4 shows at one point in time in 1 year, and some of these girls are doing 1 or 2, maybe 3 shows. And when you take that away from them, it's like, and you got to win to get in. It's like it's like, again, you can't do that because that takes the appeal away from it. Fuck, I got to win a show to get into this shit? Really? That's ridiculous. It's tough. I tell people this is probably the hardest sport I've ever competed in because of a whole bunch of logistics when it comes to this. The judges, the shows. I mean, I have a whole bunch of logistics when it comes to the shows, and now you just made it harder. So it's like, fuck. It's like, do I really want to do this? Am I Nikki or am I Nikki or who was the other girl who plays second? Behind Micaiah. And
Angela.
It's like I took off a year. One girl took off 2 years to come back and come up short, and now I got to start this process all over again. How many times does somebody want? How many? One of my teammates from Titan Nutrition, Shalay, she just a figure pro who has qualified for Olympia the last couple of years, just announced her retirement because she's like, you know what? How much of this more do I want to deal with? How much more do I want to push my body? How much more time do I want to be away from my husband? How much time before I can start a family and all this other stuff? So a lot of these girls, a lot of people starts looking at it that way. Kai Green said it the best. Use the sport for what you can get out of it, not what the sport can get out of you, because this dude was at his all-time high when they did Generation Iron. But he understood one thing. They were never going to let him win the Olympia title over Phil or anybody for that matter. So he walked away and doing other things. And I think if you're getting to a point with a lot of these athletes, with the Moan Morels, the other people who are sitting there saying, I can do other things and make my residual income way more than what I'm doing in this sport and don't have to be as hard on my body, and I can protect my health and all these other things because nobody else gives a shit. Jason Huss said it best in an article. He said, you know what? At the end of the day, my family's going to be there. The IFBB is not going to be there for me. You look at all these guys who have died, the Georges, the Dallases, the Cedrics, the Shawns, and along with all the other female bodybuilders, and we're the IFBB for them at the end of the day. They push their bodies to be the best athlete they can possibly be. With all of our dreams are every person who competes in the sport dream is to one day be on the Olympic stage. Will we all get there? Absolutely not. So it's like we're chasing after something that is hard to get after, and we're putting so much risk and health and everything involved for at the end of the day, if you don't make it or something does happen to you, a couple years later, you're just, a thought at that for that matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Get this from Lawrence Perkins says, yep, it's right there to see. And also this is for Warrior. I think he's acknowledging to Raheem. He says this. He says, Raheem, I wish they would do their jobs, but we can only get what we can get from the sport currently. Yeah, it's always going to be this. As I said again, I'm a fan of this sport. I'm a fan of these ladies. I'm a fan of the work y'all put in, the time you put in, and you should get more out of it than anything. I mean, but you can't make, like I said, like magic. How Money Mike said, you can lead a horse in water, but can't make it think. So that's just simply it. But
well, I mean, and again, it's because I got to go because I'm at the pumpkin patch with my kids. But it's simply this: it's a matter of the NFL, for prime example, and because I'm a former NFL player, it's simply this: at the end of the year, what do they have a meeting? They have an owners meeting. They have an owners meeting about rules and all kinds of stuff and things that they're changing to make the sport better. The sport is now international. They have games in Germany, they have games in London, they have games in Mexico. But their job, the NFL job, is to boast up their brand and get the highest value out of their brand. And I can't even know the number that Roger Goodell just threw out there the other day. But guess what? The meetings of the minds as owners, those 32 teams come together and says, how can we make more money? How can we make this more sexy? Just think about it. In the Olympics, George, this year, they will have flag football. Flag football in the Olympics. That came from the NFL.
And then they're bringing back softball, too.
And because they understand the appeal of ESPN got the Little League Girls World Series, the Little League Boys World Series, all these things that are going to drive these kids to go out and play these sports. Now you got the girls that can play flag football. My daughter said the other day, she's driving by the field, she goes, Dad, I want to play flag football. And I'm like, awesome. But the NFL, that's what makes the NBA, the MLB, the NBA, the NL, all these sports, even soccer. That's what makes them become the powerhouses that they're in for their market. You don't see that in this sport, and that's the problem. You don't see, saying we need to fucking sit down and figure out how we can boost up our sport to make it more appealing to people. And it's just not about men, women. It's about the whole, everybody under that umbrella. And they're just not doing that. And there's athletes who are walking away saying the risk versus the reward is just not worth it. The money's just not worth it because it's not a lot there. I can make money doing something that, shit. As they say, I can do that all by myself, because you put all this time and effort. And if you don't place in the top 5, you walk away empty handed and spend a lot of money for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. This is from Raheem Hamilton, as always says. They like where it's at. This talking back and forth will not help. Well, it's not going to help. If you're not helping, you're not saying. But it's just getting out there. You have to, put the out there, and people need to speak. If people not want to speak about it, all you can do is just talk back and forth. And you know what? We're talking back and forth because this is a discussion, Raheem. If you know that. Also,
and Raheem, and Raheem, understand this. An athlete just got banned for guest posting at a show. So even as an IFBB pro, a current IFBB pro, I got to tip. I can't, I got to tiptoe and be careful and choose my words articulately in which way, so I don't piss people off. There may be somebody listening to this, and I'm just, again, it's a discussion, But the problem is, you're right. We have to talk about it because it may think makes some. Maybe somebody will hear it. I've said these kind of a few things to Jake Woods a couple of years ago when Hade didn't win it, and I said, Jake, you have to understand, there's people who pay in live stream to look at this shit, and they're looking. And I understand Steve Weinberger said, well, we're there right up front. And we, what people see on TV is not necessarily what we see. Well, shit, I was at the show when he lost. And I'm saying, how the hell did he lose? This and other. So, as we say, the eye in the sky don't lie. So, you have to understand, some people want to hear what they want to hear, and some people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Also, he says, flag football is being considered for 2028, not 2024. Well, it doesn't matter. It's being considered now. That's what it is.
It's in the Olympics. It's not being considered. It's in the Olympics. It's not being considered.
This is 425 says, I hope Jake Woods and Jim Mannion can obtain the sport of women's bodybuilding and physique in a healthy route so it can flourish for another 5 years at least. And also, this is from Lawrence. He says, I just heard about it earlier to what Olympia do. Okay, yeah. But man, Big Keith, he has to get ready. He's doing pumpkin pie with the family. I hope
it's family time.
But
I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. And to my people, next week we're having a special. We're having a special Muscle Talk Monday. It's a Halloween prediction special. As you know, next week is 2 more days of Halloween. And on Halloween Eve, which is the 30th, that's Monday, we will have a prediction special. We're gonna, get dressed up, we'll get some predictions. We're gonna, we'll talk about, ranging from the different divisions from up from women's bodybuilding and men's bodybuilding, all the divisions, and give our critiques and our predictions. Big Keith will be here. He probably do most of the guys. He knows a little bit. I might have some people out here also that might give their critique because I love to have their voices to hear that. But if you are a fan, come check us out. We're gonna push it back to 5 o'clock. I know Keith, he has to probably do something with the kids. So 5 o'clock my time, which will be 4 o'clock his time. I don't know when he's gonna be out. He's gonna probably be out around with the kids before then. I hope so. And we're gonna all be an outfit, so you don't have to do anything special. You can get a little mask or a little bit of makeup or something. Nothing to anything. If you want to come through, if you want interested in coming on, like Raheem. I don't know if you're off on. Usually everyone knows Halloween's not really a true holiday, but hey, if you want to come in, bring a mask. Put on a little makeup or something. I know you got some lipstick or something like that. But if you want to come in, if you want to check us out, we're going to have at 5 o'clock Muscle Talk Monday special Halloween Olympia prediction. So, just come on through, support the channel, support, the ladies here. Also, before I go out, as we know, if you follow my channels on IG, we had a passing of a lady, Miss Rochelle Chase. She was a Olympic level competitor, physique competitor, a female competitor. She passed away over this weekend. I want to give my condolences to her and her family. She had 5 kids. Sorry for her loss. I posted on my social media. Also, I'm going to also give a shout out to the late Mr. Burt Young. Big fan of his. Paulie from Rocky. Remember said, I can't hear you. I'll see 3 or something. Hit the one in the middle. I mean, great man, great actor. It wasn't for him, the Rocky movies wouldn't be as good as they were. Shout out to the late Mr. Burt Young, and I'm gonna give a moment of silence to both Burt and Rochelle. So thank you, folks. We got a few more comments here. This is from my man Lawrence Perkins. Before we head out, he says, "It's always good to speak out, and that we speak one day, things can change." Raheem, my brother, shout out to you, Raheem. Also, he says, "Take care, Keith." Yeah, Keith is already gone, and this is from him again. He says, "Okay, George, you always have a support regardless, including everyone on here too." Well, thank y'all guys. I really appreciate y'all supporting me. I mean, I enjoy this content. I'm still, like I said, I'm still a little bit raw. I had a critique of some people. How one thing is I need to slow down my speech when I do interviews. Because I do speak a little fast. I'm from the South. There's some habits it's hard to break. I do try to slow down a bit. But then sometimes I slip and I go into George mode, and sometimes it's hard, but I will work on it. I appreciate y'all for coming through and giving your shout outs, your support. comments. Shout my man Big Keith came through. My man Kale the Wanderer, Raheem Hamilton, Balls Deep, War 2000, Lawrence Perkins, also Rajesh San. He's a big fan of Lavinia Barros. Yeah, Rajesh San, and he says X Factor. Yeah, she is. I think she has a great future. But if you want to watch, if you missed the video all the way, watch it again. Give your critiques, give your comments. I mean, I appreciate it. I enjoy doing these videos, and this is Muscle Talk Mondays. It's something I love doing. I mean, it's just fun. But this is Muscle Talk Monday, episode 159. Wow, I'm almost 160. So maybe it won't be long before I'll be at 200. But if you like, comment, subscribe, share. Support. Support the bodybuilder, support the men and women in sport, and also support me, my people who follow me. I mean, shout out to my man Big Keith, shout out to KL. Like I said, next Monday, the Halloween Olympia predictions special. Come on through, give your thoughts and your critiques, your predictions, who's going to win, whichever division. We all know who's going to win Miss Olympia, the true Miss Olympia, and that is the true Miss Olympia, Andrea Shaw. Oh. But anyway, folks, I appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Appreciate you all again. It's your man, Always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out. Have a great rest of your week. Wait a minute. This is from Raheem Five says, not going to take down Andrea. No, she's, as the fifth element says, she's perfect. So appreciate you guys and enjoy the rest of your week and happy Halloween.